Part 4, Traditional Publishing Path. Chapter 19, The Querying Process. I shall begin this section by reminding you that there is no one way to write a book. Likewise, there is no one way to send a query. As the saying goes, there is more than one way to skin the cat, but none are pleasant for the cat. This is merely how I've learned to do things, and hopefully this will work for you as well. It is outside the scope of this book to explore all the techniques and formats used. While there's a fairly standard format for query letters, understand that each literary agency, and sometimes each literary agent within an agency, will add their unique requirements in terms of the entire query package. Please follow their instructions to the letter. An agent may view any deviation from instructions as a reason to put your work on the slush pile and move on to another author who followed directions. This is their first exposure to working with the author. If that author can't follow basic instructions, they may prove difficult to work with. All that said, the query letter itself will follow a general format. Your name, address, email, date, agent's address. Personalized greeting, dear or greetings, find the agent's name and spell it correctly. Hook paragraph, the initial sentence about your book to grab the agent's attention. Summary paragraph, a summary about your book, the plot, character, etc. Bio paragraph, a bit about yourself and your experience as an author. Closing, a thank you and a request for them to review your manuscript. The hook paragraph. The hook is your first, and sometimes only, chance to grab the agent's attention. The first sentence should be strong. Make it punchy. Make it interesting. Make it unique. There are several formats commonly used. Sure, it's a formula, but it's a formula that works. When X wants Y, Z happens. X wins by doing W. When such and such event happens, main character must further conflict and triumph in their own special way. Example. When the evil empire destroys his family's farm, Luke must learn an ancient art and overcome the lies of his past. Some other options for setting up your hook are below. Give an interesting era/location. Set in modern-day Jerusalem. During the summer of 1889 in a rural Texas town. Taking place in turn-of-the-century New York City. Describe a unique main character. The tale of Una Spencer, wife of Melville's legendary fictional whale harpooner Captain Ahab. A chatty cozy mystery starring 50-something college professor Belle Barrett. Narrated by Cot Daly, an Irish peasant girl kidnapped from Galway and sent to Barbados. Examples of hook paragraphs, via agentequery.com. Bridges of Madison County. When Robert Kincaid drives through the heat and dust of an Iowa summer and turns into Francesca Johnson's farm lane looking for directions, the world-class photographer and the Iowa farm wife are joined in an experience that will haunt them forever. The Kite Runner. An epic tale of fathers and sons, of friendship and betrayal, that takes us from Afghanistan in the final days of the monarchy to the atrocities of the present. The Da Vinci Code. A murder in the silent after-hour halls of the Louvre Museum reveals a sinister plot to uncover a secret that has been protected by a clandestine society since the days of Christ. All of this takes a lot of work, trial and error, and feedback from others. Many authors spend hours crafting a great hook. Then hours more to revise it. And you can craft multiple hooks to use in different queries. They can be used in advertising, too. However, there's a shortcut, thanks to being an extreme planner. Hook exercise. Remember that first sentence you wrote at the beginning of the book, the one with the main conflict and character? Go get that. Massage the words so they are emotionally charged, concise, and intriguing. Craft that into your hook paragraph. The rest of the first paragraph should include, at the very least, the following things. Title of your book, always include it. Some put it in all capitals, italics, or bold to make certain it stands out. Genre, so, you've written a historical romance time travel women's fiction with some adventure and paranormal elements. Don't tell them all that. It's a quick way to make them toss the query. If you can't narrow down your genre to a few main ones, they can't market it. Choose one genre, and maybe add with a thread of another. Choose two at most. This is not the time to be cute, and you don't need to highlight every single aspect of your story. If you can't distill the genre, read some samples of them and narrow it down. Word count, very important. Many agents won't touch novels below or above certain word counts. Also, this is a strong indicator that you have completed your manuscript, which is also important. Agents won't work with an unfinished story. This can be an estimate, 90,000. Certain genres have certain standards. Romances and cozy mysteries tend to be lower, while epic fantasy tends to run higher, due to world building. Relationship? Have you met the agent at a conference? Did they like your tweet on a pitch day? Do they have listed in their MSWL manuscript wish list that they love paranormal romance? If you have a special connection, mention it briefly. However, if you found them in a database, you don't need to mention that. The summary paragraph. The summary paragraph can be the most difficult part of a query. How to distill a 100k word epic into one paragraph and still retain the magic. That's pretty much impossible, but you still have to get as close as you can. Read the backs of your favorite novels to get a feel for the format and tone of professional blurbs. Take your hook and expand it into a mini plot. Be careful not to give away your ending. Literary agents like to be surprised just like readers do. Brainstorm. Write down words, spit them out, rearrange them, try a bunch of combinations. For my book, I might form a word cloud like this. Adventure. Historical. Fairy. Vikings. Family. War. Battle. Age. Legacy. Descendant. Grandchild. Norman. Fort. Irish. Ireland. Celtic. Cold. Winter. Warrior. Prophecy. Seer. Cassandra. Then craft those words into sentences. I would start with 3 sentences. First, describe the character, not necessarily name them. Then describe the dilemma they face. Third, explain what is at stake if they make the wrong choice or action. Make certain the conflict is clear. Strong story is driven by conflict, and the biggest critique I see on any blurb or query is that the conflict is not described or unclear. The second biggest critique is that the stakes are missing or not high enough. In addition to the above, convey what makes your story intriguing or unique. Does your story explore racism in ancient Rome? Does it address domestic violence on a future world? Does it describe a hero's journey in an unexpected place? Is it a feel-good romance set in modern-day China? Every story has something unusual to highlight. Once you've distilled the information above, it's time to craft the summary paragraph. Once again, our path as an extreme planner already has a shortcut for that. Summary paragraph exercise. Go back to the first paragraph you created to plan your book. The one which describes your main character, their primary goal, and what's stopping them from that goal. This is your essential story. Use this as the bones of your summary paragraph, and then beautify the words to be as attractive, intriguing, and interesting as you can. Pump up the conflict and stakes. The bio paragraph. Even if you've never published anything before nor won any awards, you can still have a strong bio section. Have you gotten a degree in history and you're writing historical fiction? Have you attended a writer's workshop? Are you a police officer, like your main character? Have you published a few stories in a literary magazine? However, keep it short and sweet and directly related to this book. The agent doesn't need your entire memoir. Bio exercise: look up a one-paragraph biography of an author you like. Using that as a guide, write up 3 sentences about yourself. Where you live, what your hobbies are, what your writing credits are, if any. Be funny and quirky, if you like. While most parts of the query letter should be serious, making the agent smile here is fine. The closing paragraph. Say thank you. Agents appreciate a thank you. Be polite. Say you're looking forward to hearing from them. Mention you appreciate their time and consideration. If you've ever written a cover letter for a resume in a job search, similar factors can apply here. Attachments. If the agent requests the first 5 or 10 pages on their site, they usually ask that it be copied and pasted into the body of the email rather than added as an attachment. Most agents will not open attachments for fear of viruses. If they request the first 10 pages and you panic because you don't know what font size or page size they want, relax. The standard measurement of a page is 250 words, so a 10-page sample would be about 2,500 words. This is just a guideline, so don't stop in the middle of a sentence. If it's reasonable within the guidelines, stop at the end of a scene or chapter. Do stop at a cliffhanger, if possible. This will help entice the agent to request more. Insert evil laugh here. Do's of your query letter. Research your options. Some agents simply aren't the right fit for your book, your personality. There are lots of small and starting publishers out there that may not suit your goals. For example, many only do ebooks or have less than stellar covers and are editing. Others may do no marketing for their authors at all. Most don't have big budgets unless you're a big name. Read the guidelines. If the agent's site says to include the genre, include it. If they say to include the first 5 pages, don't include 10. If they ask about your social media presence, give a few examples. Each agent has different requirements. Do address the query letter directly to an agent. This proves you've done some homework. Be professional. Don't curse, don't use text speak, don't chat, don't use first person in the letter itself. Note, the story summary might use first person if the manuscript is in first person. Keep it simple. 1 page, 250 to 300 words, max single-spaced, 12-point font. Left aligned. Don't get cute or creative here, trying to stand out by being different. There's a time and a place for that, and the query letter isn't it. You can have a clever bit in your bio, as I mentioned earlier. Use short sentences and short paragraphs. Agents get hundreds of letters each month and must skim through them all. Long sentences can be difficult to understand on a quick reading, and the agent loses interest. Try to keep the tone of your query similar to the tone of your story while keeping it professional. If you have a psychological thriller, the summary paragraph might be somber and dark, as opposed to a YA, young adult, slice-of-life book which would have a lighter, more jaunty tone. Let someone else proofread it. Just like a resume, typos or death knells. If the agent asks for comps, comparative titles like your own, include a few. However, don't say, "This is the next Harry Potter." This is hubris, overselling, and a sign of an amateur. Make every word count. This is your entire novel, incredibly distilled. Have you ever had to reduce a lot of information into 280 characters for a tweet? Similar idea. Some agents/publishers may be scams, charging reading fees, or geared toward selling marketing packages. Others ask for money upfront for editing or cover art. If their website looks geared toward authors and not readers, then they are likely earning their money from authors, not readers. That means your books won't sell, but they'll be making money off you. This violates AAR ethics, Association of Authors Representatives. See link in resources for a place to check them out. Pitch one book at a time. If you plan to make the book into a series, you might mention that it has series potential. On the other hand, if you have already written the series, definitely mention it, as that is a plus for any agent. Leave the punctuation conservative. No exclamation points. Certainly not 2 or 3. Some agencies with multiple agents say a no from one of us is a no from all of us. Pay attention to this. Others say another agent within the agency might be a better fit. In the latter case, feel free to query another after the original agent rejects your manuscript. Some may even pass on the query to a different agent within the agency if they think it's a good fit. Don'ts of the query letter. Don't write, "This work is copyrighted." By U.S. law, your work is copyrighted the moment you write it. Saying your work is copyrighted wastes space and looks unprofessional. In addition, an agent may take offense to the implication that they'd steal your work. Don't say this work is partially autobiographical. Reason: all fictional works have some element of autobiography. You're wasting valuable query space here. Don't oversell with hyperbole or cliché. The best new novel of the decade. This story will knock your socks off. Enthralling, brilliant, one of a kind. This belongs on your cover when you get editorial reviews, not on your query. Don't tell the agents what they will think. This also holds true with saying it's interesting or intriguing. Don't apologize for being unpublished or a newbie. Everyone was a newbie once. Everyone was unpublished once. Yes, even Stephen King. He received 30 rejections for Carrie before someone took a chance on it. Don't try to convert the agent. If an agent says in their online bio or manuscript wishlist that they're not interested in crime fiction, don't pitch them in the first place. Don'ts in the query process. Don't send a query to every literary agent you like at the same time. What you learn in rejections from one agent might help you refine your query and hook for the next agent. It is generally acceptable or recommended to send a maximum of 6 to 8 queries per week. Don't follow up unless their website says it's allowed to follow up. No response means a rejection is much more common than, feel free to contact us again if you don't hear from us in 6 weeks. Don't reply to rejections, even to thank them. Even if it seems polite, it just adds to the amount of correspondence an agent must dig through each day. Don't insult other authors, books, or agents in your query or correspondence. Agents talk to each other. Not long ago, a story about an author who was publicly rude to an agent went viral. Many other agents read it. Guess who never got a book deal? Online pitching contests. Above, when discussing the relationship the author might have with the agent, I mentioned pitching contests. For those unfamiliar with this trend, I'll delve into them more deeply here. Most of these are through Twitter, and if you're unfamiliar with Twitter in general or pitching contests in particular, it would be a good idea to create an account. It's free. If you like, you can make an anonymous account. You can follow authors or agents you like, and see what they're looking for or how they interact. If you don't like an agent's Twitter banter, they may not be a good fit for you or your work. You can search back through hashtags, #pitchmadness, #pitmad, #pitrom, etc. to see the kinds of pitches and tags used for past contests. Some contests maintain separate web pages with details about the contest, date, time of contest, what you might win, etc. Sometimes they're purely about exposure to agents for small publishing presses, but sometimes they're geared toward finding a critique partner or a mentor. Create a pitch for your book. Twitter allows you 240 characters, including spaces and punctuation, so you must create a pitch that delivers character, conflict, and stakes in a concise manner. If you can't get your pitch to fit without devolving into semi-intelligible abbreviations and emojis, then some contest communities offer feedback sessions to improve your pitch. Getting an eye-catching comparison title, other work that your book resembles, can be an important way of getting an agent's attention. Comps books, film, television, movies, or video games. You can include more than one if you have the space. You also want a comp that is well known enough to be useful. Let's say you've written a book that is a retelling of Snow White, but it's set in the modern day and centers around thrilling political intrigue. A comp might be Snow White meets The West Wing. Another comp format is for fans of Outlander or for fans of Downton Abbey. You need to reserve some of those characters for tagging your Twitter post. This means adding a series of hashtags. One should be the contest name, #DVPit, #PitMad, #PitProm, #PitDark, etc. Others will help refine the genre, audience, or demographics of your book. Examples, #YA, young adult, #A, adult, #F, fantasy, #SF, science fiction, #MG, middle grade, #TH, thriller. Tags allow agents to search for pitches they might be the most interested in without having to read them all. Each contest has its own rules regarding length, tagging, frequency of, etc. Common rules. Don't like other pitches. Others may retweet your pitch, but the like function is reserved only for agents/publishers. The author will see that and think they've gotten a request from an agent but be crestfallen when they see it's not an agent. If you like another pitch, retweet it. Spreading the word helps a pitch. Those authors might see your retweet and retweet your pitch in thanks. It can help to build followers, make connections, or just be a cool person on Twitter. Pin your pitch. Pin your pitch tweet at the top of your page during the contest. This makes it easier for other authors to retweet. If you get a like from an agent, hooray! Okay, now that your heart has calmed down a little, spend some time checking out the agent or the small press. Do they have a website? Read their website. If not, why are they in an online pitch contest? Would they be a good fit for you to work with? Contact that agent. If it seems like a good fit, then see if they have a list of requirements for queries from the contest. They might want a particular subject line, a call out in the query letter, etc. Querying can be frustrating, but there are ways to break down the process into manageable chunks. By creating a strong query letter, there is a better chance of getting the attention of an agent. Once you have an agent, you have a better chance of getting a publisher.